Hello gang, welcome along, it's Chris Reardon with you, today's United Kingdom talk, and I know I sort of passed on the subject on the last show, but I'm going to mention again because what I did, I recorded the whole of the Beijing Olympics opening ceremony. And I mean, it was a good 4 hours long. It was a blooming long TV show, actually. And I'm kind of watching little bits and pieces of it. And I'm just blown away with the effort that China went to be the best opening ever. And it was really good. I mean, Sydney was good. Do you remember the Sydney Olympic opening ceremony? That was really good as well. But this whole Chinese Beijing Olympic opening, absolutely fantastic. I was watching it. I particularly like. I'll tell you how far I've got so far. I've got as far as when the camera comes outside the Bird Nest Stadium and shows you an image of the whole area and red fireworks going off along the street. Or along this, what looks like a main road. Absolutely blown away. And I found the whole thing quite emotional, actually. I mean, oh, you know me. I get very emotional, darling. Little tears. And what a proud nation. What a proud nation. I particularly liked all those boys on the drums. You know, bang, 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 bang. How clever was that? And how many months of preparation must it take to put something like that together? No expense spared. No one appears to have been worried about how much it costs. And, you know, when you're doing creative things, singing or anything like that, the last thing, and I've got so much experience of this, the last thing you want is some accountant come manager breathing down your neck all the time, moaning about how much is this costing, and oh, it gets on your nerves. And they clearly have had no expense spared on that particular opening. Now, forget about the whole political thing, because that's not what this little chat here is about at the moment, okay? The way the whole thing was brought together. I've seen. I also saw a little bit of the. What do you call them? Silly me. I was just going to say the artists then for a moment. The athletes, of course, walking through, and I saw a little bit of that. You know, tiny countries with one or two athletes, perhaps, and larger countries with hundreds of athletes coming through, and it's just marvellous to see. And I just like the way it brings so many countries together. How fantastic to see Iraq in the middle of a war, send some people. And of course, the whole stadium went mad when these Iraqis walked through. How fantastic to see them there, don't you think? And there's nothing like a great big sporting event, or indeed a music event, to bring lots and lots of people together. Just brilliant. As I say, I love the drum work when they were doing the drums. I like the way the soldiers, when they were bringing the Chinese flag over to the pole right at the beginning of the ceremony. But do you know what blowed me away more than anything? Oh, and the Chinese national anthem. They're all standing there singing the national anthem. Just fantastic. Do you know what really blew me away? There was a little girl singing. I don't know I can't remember what her name was, but it was just beautiful. I believe she was wasn't she wearing all red, and she had little pigtails, and I don't know how old she was. She looked very young, maybe about 8 years old, was she? And her voice, and she was just smiling all the time. Did you see the Olympic opening ceremony? I've got another 3 hours to get through, and believe me, I will, because it's just great. And there we go, the Chinese opening to the Olympics. And China, indeed, I think a very misunderstood country. I really do. I wonder sometimes, especially with the way China and indeed India at the moment are, their economy is getting huge. And I wonder sometimes if other countries make up bits and pieces sometimes because they're worried that we will start buying everything from China and then they'll have no business anymore. I wonder how much money has got to do with it once again. Do you? You know, China, a very misunderstood country, I think. And I do hope that the Olympics give us some insight into what goes on there. Now, there's an email address for the show. It's chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, right? chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. A warm welcome along to you. Ross Patzelt in Norwich, a regular... are you a viewer or a listener? I can't remember. I think you're a listener. A regular listener to the show. Always been on the phone complaining, dear. And an email has arrived for another email moaning that I'm not getting on with the emails. Well, don't worry, Ross, because this is also another email catch-up programme. If you've been watching your... I bet Ross, probably Ross in Norwich, he goes out with a young lady called Donna. Oh, they've been going out for a while now. I'm still waiting to be booked for the wedding. Incidentally, Ross, if you do want to book me for your wedding, or indeed anyone else, I do promise I don't actually talk for the entire wedding. I do play the occasional record. Okay? So if you Chris Reardon's mobile disco, that's what we need. Chris Reardon's mobile disco. I've got loads to tell you, but there's no time. The new computer's arrived, incidentally. I'm not using it at the moment. That computer is going to be used specifically for the video side of things to take a little bit of the weight of the audio computer. I don't know whether to move everything from the old computer over to the new one, because the old one still works fine. It's just that the video side of things is a little bit slow, so I bought the new computer with a lot more memory in it and a lot faster to speed up the video side of things. I may just leave it for that. All right, but don't worry, Ross. If you've been looking at your watch, I have only been speaking for 7 minutes and about 15 seconds before we go into the emails. Huh? That's the quickest ever. Another email catch-up programme. We might have to have one more, and then we'll be there, OK? Then I can start telling... Because I haven't been telling you about what's been going on, have I? Apart from the Olympics, dear. Right. Oh, what's happened there? Just a minute. Something's gone wrong there. One second. Got to pull a plug, I think. I've kicked a wire. Oh, what's happened now? Just a minute. Have I kicked a wire? Stay there. Don't go. Hang on. Oh, pull that out. Oh, 1 minute. 1 minute. Is it that one? No, I don't think it's that one. 1 minute. Oh, hello. Are you there now? There we are. That's better. I noticed my little I've got a screen in front of me here, and it tells me if the sound's all right. And it just started to look a bit dodgy. Then it's still looking a bit dodgy, actually. Is it my wires underneath? Just a minute. I think I've got a bit of... I know what it is. It's because I've been moving the computer around. Yeah, that's what it is. 1 second now. Stay there. I'll just get on the ground and sort this for you. You can't be having only half of it working, dear. Is that the one there? Is that it? Hang on. Let me have a look now. Is that better? Can you hear me all right now? No, not yet. Oh, dear. Actually, you probably can hear me all right. It's just people who might be listening in the old stereo thing. I can't find the other wires now. 1 minute. Oh, is that it? Fingers crossed. And I'll have a little go at that later on, I think. I can't get to my wires now. 1 second. Sorry about this. We should have... This might cost me a whole email, you know. I can't see the... I've got my little torch on my mobile phone. Do you like this? There's a mobile phone. It's got a torch on it. Hang on. I've just got to have a look behind here. Oh, there we are. That's the one. Is it that one there? Oh, hang on. 1 minute. That's the one. Oh, I can't find the socket. I can't find the socket now, isn't it? That's it. Are we done? There we are. I think that's it. There we are. We're with you. Sorry about that. You may not have noticed anything, but you would have done had I've not done anything about it. And I do like a professional production. You know that. We do like a professional production. Right, here we go then. Email time, and I've only spoken for 9 minutes, Ross. All right. Moaning all the time. What a cheek, dear. From Suko first. She says, for those among us that wear fat pants. Do you remember that? Just before I went to my sister's, this vile person, name of Lee, asked me why I was wearing shorts for fat people. I know. It's not on, is it? And Suko says, "Dear Chris, first of all, please accept my sympathy for the loss of your uncle." Thank you very much, Suko. You may not have been close to him. Oh, well, yeah, no, that's true. But he was a link to your mum, who you adored, and a loss nonetheless. Yeah, you're right. Of course. No, I wasn't close to my uncle, but it was my mum's brother. And therefore, of course, yes, it's noticed when someone you lose like that, isn't it? More noticeable, I suppose, is how unhappy certain people are that are left behind. For example, his not his mum, silly me, his wife, Auntie Reardon, and his daughter Susan. Very unhappy now. So I've kind of taken it upon myself to make a phone call every week, and that's it. Yeah, I think that's quite nice, and it's nice to reconnect, I think, with people like that. When my mum died in the year 2000, I started ringing my Auntie Brenda. That was her sister. There were three of them, you see. There was my mum, gone, year 2000. There was my uncle, gone a couple of weeks ago. And there's Auntie Brenda, who's still with us. And I know Mum used to ring Auntie Brenda every week. So now I ring her every week. And I shall do the same now with Auntie Reardon. And besides, quite apart from that, it's nice to kind of reconnect with people, don't you think? They've gone on holiday at the moment. My Aunt Reenie and cousin Susan, they've gone somewhere down, I think Cornwall or somewhere down in the southwest where it's always warmer, because the weather hasn't been too good at all here at the moment, Suko. Last few days we've had an awful lot of rain. But as I said on the last show, can't complain. It's been a pretty good summer, I think, up to now. We've had quite a few days of really nice sunshine. It's certainly not been as bad as it was last week. Now, Suko, so thank you very much for your sympathy there. It's much appreciated, Suko. Suko says, but for some sausage rolls and an occasional chocolate marshmallow, you've done quite well with your New Year's resolution. I have, actually. I have. Now, what did I say? No more than 10 trips to McDonald's this year? I've only done 2. But we have done a Mr. Ed's. We have done one Mr. Ed's as well. Okay. Not Mr. Ed's. What's it called? Ed's Diner. Oh, I like it there. My friend Dane, who comes to play bingo every Tuesday night in West 5, he wants to come to Ed's Diner with me. So I'm going to take him out there. And that'd be quite nice. Quite nice to take a customer out, take a friend out for a chat. A new friend, incidentally. I haven't known Dane very long. Nice lad. You look fine. In fact, you looked quite dashing in the red jacket and hat that Susan sent you. Do you think so? Well, I haven't got the red jacket with me. The hat is behind me, and I don't know, Suko, I'm not sure if you're watching or listening to this show, but if you're listening, your little, your little box with a picture of me in the middle and you and the Queen and the tea set either side, that is now, I have just moved that literally tonight. And it's now directly below the hat, which is on the wall. I think I need to make a bit of a feature of that wall behind me. Put up a couple of shelves or something like that. Maybe some twinkling lights. Do you like that? We need to make it a bit more showbiz, don't we? We need a bit more Hollywood here in the Liverpool studios, I think. Suko says she loved the tour of Sharon's house and the grounds. And I don't know if she's got grounds, dear. Good God, it's only a garden, love. Blimey, grounds? Grounds go on for miles, dear. She's only got a garden and a pond. She's got a pond with fish in it. And enjoyed the pictures of the family at the end of one of the last shows. Yeah, I know that's a number of shows ago now, but as you do well know, I've been way behind with the emails for some time now, and I'm desperately trying to catch up in the last show and this one and the next one as well. Anyway, glad you noticed those pictures of our little day out to Skegness at the end of that show. I can't remember the date of that show. I kind of wondered if anyone would notice that. I do want to redo the beginning and end little film sequences that I do. It's just finding the time to do all this stuff as usual. You know what I'm like, Suko. She says, I wanted to relay a couple of funny but not so funny stories I've heard of late. The first one involves the inventor of the can that Pringles comes in. Now, I bet you didn't know this. In 1966, Frederick Barr invented the can that enables chips to be stacked uniformly rather than tossed in a bag. Now, if you're in the UK, for chips, read crisps, okay? He was so proud of this achievement that he said a few years later he wanted to be buried in one of the cans. What, in the Pringles cans, dear? When he died earlier this year, his children decided to honour his wishes. So on the way home to the funeral home, they stopped at a Walgreens. What is a Walgreens? Is that like a supermarket, I would guess? Stopped at a Walgreens for a burial case of Pringles. Bohr's eldest son, Larry, said, "My siblings and I briefly debated what flavour to use. But I said we needed to use the original." Now, my personal favourite Pringles are barbecue. Oh, and it's true what they say. Once you pop one, you cannot stop. Am I right? Have you tried the barbecue Pringles? Once you've started one of those, you cannot stop eating them. They're really nice. And so the 89-year-old inventor of the Pringles can, got his wish, and his ashes were buried in the can he was so proud of. Yeah, and why not? Why not? By the way, I, for one, am not crazy for the Pringles concept. They taste okay, but not exactly as good as the real thing. No, I entirely agree with you there. I'd rather have a bag of normal crisps any day of the week in comparison to the Pringles. Crisps... What are crisps? They are, perhaps someone will correct me if I'm wrong here, but crisps are literally bits of potato sliced and fried, and that's it. Pringles, I think, are potato all mashed together and then formed, aren't they? And then cooked like that. So a very, very different experience. I personally prefer the normal crisps as well, Suko. She said, second of all, some of the fun was taken out of eating chips. Yes, exactly. With Pringles, you can't look for the chips with bubbles. No, our chips or our crisps, we don't have bubbles in them, Suko. They're all flat. There's no bubbles in ours. My favourite are chips in interesting shapes like Italy or Elvis or even a vacuum cleaner. Sorry, dear? What, you found chips in the shape of a vacuum cleaner? You're a strange lady sometimes, I tell you. I cringe to think what the inventor of string cheese wants to have done upon his or her death. Yeah, I don't like the idea of that either. Now, the second story starts off funny, but unfortunately has an unhappy ending. I'll tell you, because I'm thinking now of how I would feel if I was to die in a funny way. Okay, I would want you to laugh at it. All right? If something happened to me and I die, and it's an amusing way, I don't know, like for example, well, I mean, I don't know. How do you die in a funny way? Laughing on a stage or something like that. I'd want you to know. Anyway, the second story is... Has anyone seen Father Adelia Antonio De Carli? In April, the Roman Catholic priest disappeared after floating into the sky underneath hundreds of helium party balloons. He floated away. The priest was trying to break a 19-hour record for the most hours staying aloft via balloons to raise money to fund a spiritual rest stop for truckers in the city of Paranagua, which is Brazil's largest grain port. There's somewhere I'd like to visit, Brazil. The 41-year-old priest was an experienced skydiver and left with a GPS system, a satellite phone and a buoyant chair. He was reported missing about 8 hours after takeoff, after losing contact with port officials. Searchers have scanned the waters off Brazil's southern Atlantic coast, but have had no luck. Now, some believe he may still be alive on some desert island or floating in the ocean. That's how Suko started. Now, since then, of course, unfortunately, Father Carly's body was found earlier this month in the Atlantic Ocean. So a sad end to that. But what a way to go. I mean, no doubt, I'm sure he enjoyed whatever he was doing there. Can you imagine that? Would you do that? I think I would do that. But I wouldn't. I don't like to go to. I'm a bit scared of heights, Suko. When I'm in a plane or an aeroplane, I have to tell myself that I'm not actually up there. I turn off to the fact that I'm 2 miles in the sky and there's nothing underneath me. I mean, I would quite like to have lots of little helium balloons attached to me and lift, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 foot off the ground, but no higher than that, dear. Can you control how high you go? I suppose you could attach sandbags to yourself or something like that. Although it'd take a few more balloons to get me off the ground at the moment because I'm like 12 stone 8, dear. Oh, I'm not. It does bother me a little bit, I suppose. But, what, the extra weight? Yeah, it does bother me a little bit, but nowhere near as much as it used to 6 months ago. And I think that's a good thing. I really do. I think that's a good thing. Suko also followed this letter up. Now, hang on a minute. How many weeks passed between this? Nearly 2 weeks later, she followed this up with another email. Oh, where's my bin gone? I must make sure I chuck emails away. Otherwise, I'll start reading them out again. Mind if I sieved it? There's no producer here. I've told you before, it's me and that's it. Now, Suko followed this up a couple of weeks ago and says, "Are you dissing me?" What do you mean, dear? What do you mean? She says, have you forgotten me already? She says, have you forgotten you already have a manager, public relations person and personal assistant? Oh, is this because Catherine offered me? Eh? We got a couple of bit. Do you know, well, it's the more the merrier, Suko, to be honest. The more the merrier. As long as you understand there's no money involved. No, I suppose, really, if you were my agent, I suppose I would, and you got me work, I suppose I'd have to pay you money, wouldn't I, dear? God almighty, the thought of anything leaving my account. Oh, God, please. I can't think of anything worse. Oh, I never take money out. Good God, Mo. When I'm walking around, I never carry money. You never know when you might lose 10p. 20 cents, that is. Now, yes, of course, you are my personal assistant. All right. Okay. Now, I've just thought of something for you two to do. Catherine and Suko. Right, are you ready for this? See if you can get me a job on one of your local TV stations. There you go. Have I got the face for TV? That's the thing. Have I got the face for TV? I see myself doing a little show like this 5 nights a week, maybe quite late at night, on a little TV station, little local TV station, something like that. Do you reckon you could do that? Catherine and Suko, who's going to get me the job first? Because I'm no good at pushing myself forward. I've said this to you time and time again. I'm no good at pushing myself forward. With the whole internet thing, I have kind of quite got it together now at distributing, that's it, at distributing this show via Facebook. We've now got is it Twitter? I quite like that, Twitter. Have you heard of Twitter? It's a bit like MySpace. There's MySpace. There's Delicious. Oh, and I nearly forgot. I must thank Joe from AmericanTalkUSA.com. I must thank Joe for helping me put an iTunes subscribe button on the main United Kingdom Talk website. All right. Now, of course, you have always been able to subscribe to this programme on iTunes, but the way you've done it before is to open up the actual iTunes software. I can hear you, Joy. Don't worry, dear. I can hear you. iTunes software. That's it. So open up the library, the iTunes software. click on podcasts and then type in United Kingdom Talk, and you will come up with both the audio side of the show and the video side of the show. Okay? Now, if you want to subscribe to iTunes for the video side of the show, you can now do that as well. Two things that you're now able to do in the last since the last couple of shows. One, you can now subscribe to the audio show, the radio show, by simply going to unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. All right, unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. On the left-hand side, underneath all the dates, just scroll down, and underneath there you will see an iTunes subscribe button. As provided kindly by Joe, or helped me do it anyway, Joe from AmericanTalkUSA.com. Thank you very much for Joe. For that, Joe. That's much appreciated. You may wonder, actually, why I asked you to help me to do that. It was Ross Patzell again. Oh, he's done nothing but complain, that one, dear. He has done nothing but complain the last few weeks. And he was saying that it's difficult to find how to subscribe to it. Well, that's how you do it. No, hang on, Ross. Oh, I take that back. It wasn't you at all, was it? No, it was young Adam in London, who was having trouble. He couldn't work out how to subscribe. He was moaning. He had to keep going down to the I've got the email here somewhere. He was moaning that he had to keep going to the main site and download manually. Well, you don't have to do that now. If you go to unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk for the audio side of things, all right, for the radio show, and just on the left-hand side, I can't find the email now, just scroll down below all the dates, and there you will find a brand new little iTunes subscribe button. Please, if anyone uses it, tell me if it works or not, because I don't know. I don't know how these things work. If you use it, can you let me know that it works? Similarly, you can now also subscribe on iTunes for United Kingdom Talk Video, which is exactly the same as the audio, but with pictures. Moving pictures. I mean, what will happen next? We'll have colour next year. We will have colour. Coloured videos. Well, of course it is in colour. Isn't that funny? You know when webcams came out, they were colour immediately, weren't they? I wonder why that is. Because years ago, of course, we had black and white telly. So it kind of makes sense that they would have brought out black and white cameras first. But they didn't, did they? Webcams, from the word go, were always colour. Isn't it? Did anyone ever think about that? Right. So if you want to subscribe to United Kingdom Talk Video, I don't have a button for that yet. Okay, yet. I shall, I think, be in contact with my dear, dear friend, Joe from AmericanTalkUSA.com. to ask his advice on that one. If you want to subscribe for United Kingdom Talk Video, so every time a new video comes out, it will download automatically, then for that, you'll have to go to the iTunes podcast store for that, okay? Type in United Kingdom Talk Video and you will see it now come up. That's all working now. All right? Always trying to think of new things. So, yeah, going back to that again, Suko, as for the distribution of this little show, I'm kind of getting to grips with that now and getting the word around and always send out things on Facebook and MySpace and all these other little bits and pieces. So, yes, I'm good at that. Actually going in somewhere and saying, hello, I want a job, that's difficult. I find that difficult. Here in the UK, you're supposed to send in tapes and this, that and the other and try and make contact with people. And it's all very daunting. I find that so daunting doing anything like that. So there you go. Catherine and Suko, get me a job in your own countries and I'll up sticks and move to you. Okay? There's your thing. I don't suppose would I have to actually be in the country to do the show? I don't know. Radio as well, okay? If you've got talk stations there. You see, one of the big problems here in the UK is if I wanted a job on a talk radio station, and I would. I don't think I'd like to do... I'm not sure whether I'd want to do... I don't think I'd like to do music radio, not if they're telling you what to play and when to play it and how long to talk for. I can't do that. But the talk stations, we are very, very limited here for talk radio. There is a smallish talk radio station in London. There is a national talk radio station. I believe there's one in Glasgow. And I think that's it. You see, so there isn't a great number of outlets for me to go. However, in places like Australia and America, you've got little talk stations all over the place, haven't you? Huh? So there's my thing. Not that I did once send a CD of my show to LBC in London, but they didn't reply. So I kind of just assume really that I'm not suitable for what they do. Maybe I'm suitable for a station near you. Do let me know. The email address of the show again is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Now, Suko says, I'll start this again. Have you forgotten you already have a manager public relations person? Ah, that would be me. And she puts me in block capitals. Look at this. Hang on, let me hide her address from you. 1 second. Look how she's put me. Can you see that? Me in block capitals on the bit of paper. She says, I mean, just because I don't write every single day anymore doesn't mean I've given up working for you on your behalf. Thank you, Suko. One of the other things I'd like to do is begin a boy band. You know, I quite like myself, maybe a reforming of NSYNC. And of course, Justin Timberlake is on his own now, isn't he? So he wouldn't be part of that. I could possibly fill in his shoes. What do you reckon? What's my favourite NSYNC song? Tearing Up My Heart. I'm tearing up my heart when I'm with you. And they've got to do all that dancing, haven't they? Yeah, Suko and Jade, you'll be able to teach me some of that hip-hop dancing, won't you? Eh? She says, just look how the show has grown. And it's all my doing. You should know that the only reason I don't have time to write as often is because of you anyway. I know that. You're the one who introduced me to James Dean. I know I am. It's true. I mean, to be honest, you know, we've also got, of course, a Wayne Anonymous who listens to James Dean and Madame Mary's on the matinee show as well. You know, I mean, I shouldn't really say this, but half his listeners, more than I reckon most of his listeners are there because of me. And do you get any thanks? No, you don't, dear. No thanks at all. Not a word. I mean, I'd be stuffing notes in an envelope and shoving them through my letterbox in a way of saying thanks for his listeners. But nothing at all. The only time he ever contacts me is when he wants something. It's true. Years and years I've spent ringing that boy. Does he ever return phone calls? Does he, hell? It's always me. Oh, you know, you ring the phone and there's no reply or something like that. Never returns a missed call. Oh, terrible. He did ring the other day. He said, can I have your bingo programme? And I said, no, you can't, dear. What a cheek. I don't mind it because he's doing bingo up north. Okay? He said, I have franchised my bingo name to him, but I did say to him, I said to him, I want after bingo with James Dean and Madame Mary's brackets by kind's permission of Chris Reardon, United Kingdom Talk. Did they put that bit on the advert? No, they didn't. And then he rings up and says, can I borrow the programme that you use, the computer programme that you use to play bingo? And I said, no, dear, I don't think so. You'll have to get one of those little cages, you know, the little turning cages with the numbers in there. Yes. What a cheek. Can I have this? Can I have that? Take. That's you, dear. Not you, Suko. I'm talking about James Dean. Suko goes on to say, you're the reason I am now a radio superstar. You're a star, lovely eyes, and a great big... Sorry, I can't say that. And you know, James is a tough taskmaster. He's added a column, Broadway News, to the homepage of the Matinee website, which is, if you want to have a look at that. And if you have a sign, can you do... Look, this is really naughty of me. This is really naughty of me. And I really shouldn't ask you to do this. But... I hope he's not listening. Can you go to... Get a pen quickly. All right? Can you go to James Dean's website, right? matineeshow.co.uk. I'll spell it for you. MATINEESHOW.co.uk. If you go there, I think there's a guest book. Okay? Can you write something like, hello, it's Suko. Heard your name mentioned on Chris Reardon's UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk, and then just hit send. Will you do that? Can we can we flood his site with adverts for my station? What do you reckon? Or for my show? Will you do that for me? Go on. I don't ask you to do much, do I? Hours and hours I sit here preparing my show, and I just want that tiny little thing. Just one tiny little thing. It's not too much to ask, is it? All right, let me give you the website again. www.matinee, MATINEE, show, SHOW, that's all one word, www.matineeshow.co.uk. Find his visitor's book. What was it called? Is it visitor's book? Oh, what's that called now? Yeah, you know the visitor's book, the signing book. There's always all these sites have got a signing book. I haven't actually got one of those, have I? Visitor's book. And if you could sign it, hello, my name's so and so. Heard about you on Chris Reardon's UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk, and completely fill up his inbox with that. Come on, James. Let's see you get back at me for that one, my love. All right? She says, she's got a very heavy workload. Of course you have, darling, writing for that boy like that. She says, and with no raise in pay, I might add. And do you listen every week? I think not. I don't have time to listen, Suko, to other shows, darling. I do try and listen. I did actually hear you on the show a couple of, not last Sunday, the Sunday before, and your lovely daughter was on there, My. See, I've got the name right now, because I heard you say it on there. It's My, spelt MEIMEI, My. And she was doing some singing on there, which was rather nice. Oh, what a sweet voice. Lovely little girls singing. It's nice, isn't it? She says, do you listen every week? I think not. And me, I never miss a United Kingdom talk show. I am right up to date. Good. You're the reason I don't get to sleep anymore too, because I listen in bed and laugh at you and how fame, if that's what you want to call it, that has gone to your head. You're having a laugh. I'm not famous, dear. I'm not famous. We'll be lucky if a couple of hundred people watch this programme, dear. Famous? I don't... Oh, mind you, there was that incident, wasn't there? There's been 2 incidents now when I've been up north, walking through just public areas like shopping centres or villages, and someone's turned around and, oh, look, that's Chris. Oh, I love it, dear. I love it. I wonder if I'm more famous in America than I am in the UK. That's happened to quite a few people. I'm sure you've heard of that fantastic singer and all-round lovely person, Nikki French, who was much, much more successful in America than she was here in the UK. She was successful here in the UK, but much more in America. I wonder how many more people like that. There must be a lot of people like that who are English and have had more success in America than they have here. I wonder why that is. Would that be the case? There you are. You see Suko and Catherine? That could be the case for me. Maybe these American producers don't know I'm here, and it is your job to get me noticed. Listen, if you do that, I'll invite you over for a cup of tea. If I make millions and millions of dollars, I will personally promise, right? You save this programme now, download this programme. I will personally promise to pay for Suko and Catherine to come here if they get me a job on American radio or television. As I mean, funny thing is with radio, you can do that here. It's also fantastic by the internet now, isn't it? She says, if you listen to my show, that's her show on the matinee show, of course, you'd know how my show has come to be known as the matinee is also known as the Dis Chris Show. Oh, yes. The 3 of them have got nothing better to do than sit there ripping my show apart. It's a liberty, that's what it is, dear. She says, we take great pleasure in nitpicking everything that you do. In fact, the last show I mentioned that James graciously offered me his spare room on my forthcoming trip to England. My friends, David and Beverly, that's a lovely name, isn't it? Beverly, offered to put me up in their home in London, and you offered me the opportunity to come and clean your kitchen. I do my best, Suko. Must be awful. I just imagine your friends Dave and Beverly and indeed James Dean offering you to stay at their house and do what? You'd be bored. If you come here, you can do the kitchen. Is that not enough? She says, just who do you think you are? Justin Timberlake? His house I would pay to clean. So, my dear Mr. Reardon, let me know if you still desire my services, because I think of a lot of other things I could spend my time on, and to think how lenient I've been with all those fast food jaunts. Suko Sullivan, PR manager and personal assistant to Chris Reardon. Well, you're clearly, Suko, you're not happy about just being given the... Just a minute now, because I've got another one. I think there's another one from you here. So one second, darling. This is great, isn't it, today? There we are. Clearly, you're not happy with just being given the kitchen to clean. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Suko. I have, of course, I read the emails, usually always before I read them out. But I have been given this great thought today, excuse me, while I've been setting up the new computer. And I've decided you can come and clean the kitchen and the bathroom. Now, I can't be fairer than that, okay? But when you're not doing the rest of the house, just the kitchen. And as you're obviously so upset that I haven't given you enough work, you can do the bathroom as well. All right? There you go. Now, Suko also sent in this email today. Well, that will be 2 days ago, okay? So we are almost bang up to date with your emails, Suko. I don't dare miss another one out, to be honest. Dear Chris and Jerry were listeners before me. However, I think I'm the longest listener who still emails on a regular basis, even though I don't have time because of you, because of all her work with James Dean and the Matinee Show as well. Oh, by the way, don't ever think James Dean will pay you a penny, dear. Oh, no. I tell you, I know him I think I know him like the back of my hand now, to be honest. I just think, I'm not sure I don't think James get paid to do his show either. Because it's only a small community station, isn't it? The two stations he's on, and they don't have the money to do that sort of thing. Similar to me, I don't get paid to do this show. But believe me, Suko, if you were working for me and I started getting good wages, I would pay you. James Dean, forget it. Forget it, dear. It's all going out. He does his show. You don't know what happens afterwards, do you, Suko? I bet you don't. As soon as he's finished that show, he's down the pub. Oh! Living it up with Madame Mary's. They spend all their wages on drink and other terrible things behind that bar. He sits there stuffing his face with packets of crisps and and he crawls home after that show. I'm telling you that now. As soon as he's finished out, he can't wait to get out the studio and down the pub. It's shocking. It's shocking. And here I am. You see, I can see James Dean, if he becomes famous. Right, if he becomes very big and famous and rich, I can see him going along the same lines as Britney Spears. I really can. Already, that time he was in London, we were sitting there in that boat, because I bought him lunch at enormous expense to me, right? Do you remember that? Bought him lunch in... Was it a Pizza Hut? I can't remember now. It was a burger place, wasn't it? I know, it was TGI Fridays. Remember when we were sitting there and I noticed he started stealing things from the restaurant? Yeah? Oh, yeah. Cutlery, salt and pepper pots, plates, serviettes. Shocking. Shocking, dear. And when he was in there, he started. I turned my back and I could hear him at the back of my head. My loneliness is killing me. And he started singing Britney Spears songs. If he becomes rich and famous, he's going to go down the whole drink and drugs thing, and he'll be shaving his hair off and marrying people and getting divorced. Blokes, incidentally. He'll be marrying blokes and getting divorced left, right and centre. No doubt he'll try and hold on to the houses each and every time. Yeah. Yeah. Terrible. Terrible. Me? Good, clean living. That's what we like here. OK, so I like the occasional hot cross bun and apple pie and all bad things like that. But we steer clear of the drink, dear. We steer clear of the drink. Except, of course, back in June, when I went to Fortnum & Mason's for afternoon tea, I did have a glass of, I think it was called rosé champagne. Oh, delicious, dear. I could get used to that. But no, not a drop have touched me since. Don't worry. Let's see. Yes, Chris and Jerry were listeners before you. I haven't heard from Chris and Jerry for a long time now. I do hope they're okay. Has anyone heard from Chris and Jerry in the States? Do let us know. Or Chris and Jerry, if you're there, please let me know you're okay, because I haven't heard from you for a while, all right? And we're talking about that because I was saying who was the longest listener. As for gay men who do not dress well, I mean, look at me. I have never been able to dress well, I'm afraid. Suko says, I coined the word hobosexual. If Mark Simpson could coin the word metrosexual, as he did in 1994, I can coin my own word. Let's use it and see if it takes off. So the name for a badly dressed gay man is hobosexual. So that's what I am now. I am hobosexual because I'm never any good at dressing myself. You see, the trouble is I won't spend the money, as you know. I do not believe in spending vast sums of money on clothes. I've got enough clothes. I always look like a sack of old potatoes. It doesn't matter what I wear, except when I went to Fortnum & Mason's for a brief period of time, I think. For a few minutes, I actually looked reasonable. But that soon fell apart when I started eating the sandwiches. Crumbs everywhere, dear. And she says, did you listen to the matinee show on the 10th of August, just a few days ago? No, I didn't. If you did, you'd know that I had a boy and girl who are in the cast of Billy Elliot, which opens on Broadway in October. And they are staying with her. Heather Burns, who plays Ellen Pruce, one of the ballet girls, and Trent, Kowalik, who plays Billy Elliot. He played it on the West End as well. They came to my home and their mums said they had a great time doing it. What, coming to your house or in the show? Not sure what you mean there, my darling. Unfortunately, James and Madam Aries were on the road, not in the studio, so they had to cut me short since they had no control over the time schedule. Oh, that's a shame. They knew Heather was going to be on with me, but Trent was a surprise. He's the actual one playing Billy Elliot. That's fantastic, Suko. You're starting to mix in the right circles, my darling. Yes, yes. Their mums are keeping in touch with me, and there is a possibility they will be on again. They are both lovely, unaffected children. When you say unaffected, do you mean they haven't got? You know when people. I don't know how to put this. You know when people know that they are a star and start throwing it about. I am. You know, a little bit like, do you know who I am? That sort of thing. That's always horrible, isn't it? And I've seen it so many times before. I really have. But clearly, I think that's what you mean. They are not like that at all. I enjoyed having them here, and their mums were lovely too. Not stage mums by any means. I think I know what you mean by that as well. Are they like, do you know my son is? They're a bit like that, but they're not like that, are they, at all? They're just like normal mums, which is nice. She says, well, more later, including an update on the fast food jaunts. Lots of love from Suko. There you go, Suko. I do believe, my dear, all your emails are now up to date. Keep them coming, girl. Keep them coming. Right, let's say hello to... let's give the email out again, shall we? Chris at United Kingdom Talk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Keep those emails coming in. We'll be on top of them shortly now. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Hello to Robert in Iceland. Hi, Chris and dear friends of the United Kingdom Talk Show. Robert says, well, it's nice that you are impressed with my flying skills. Sad to say, though, that sad to say, though, that the only thing I fly these days are models or carpets. I love that. You know, the flying carpet in Aladdin. Isn't that fantastic? I wish you could get one of those, a flying carpet, and you could just put it outside on the grass and push and say, take me to, I don't know, take me to Paris, and off it would go. Wouldn't that be fantastic? Flying has been a joy, but not so much these days with all of the rules. I recall that you said you had a taster lesson in what I would imagine to be a 172. Oh, I don't know what the... hang on a minute, I've got the certificate in the other room. Because I've got a certificate for flying. Just a second, I'll go and get it. Stay there a minute. Here it is, I found it. Oh, to put this on the... Yes, it was. Did you say a 152? No, it's a 172. Look, I've got this here. Flight certificate. And it says, this is to certify that Chris Reardon has piloted an aeroplane on their own under the guidance of a qualified flying instructor and successfully completed a 1-hour flight in a Cessna 152 with red air. And I did that on the 1st of August in 2005. Well, I thought that was only 2 years ago. That's 3 years ago. I'd actually thought about taking up flying lessons. But once you're up there in those little planes, you do get chucked about a lot, don't you? And I felt a little bit uncomfortable with that. So maybe not my sort of thing. Although I don't know, really. I mean, if I was to do it 3 or 4 times, would I get used to that? You can tell me that, Bob. Although very, very expensive to learn to fly now, of course. So, yes, it was a Cessna 152. That was the plane, little 2-man plane. Do you know that I found planes of that size more of a handful? The larger, look at this, the larger the plane, the more steady in the air they are. So there you go, that makes sense. I have a fondness for the 737. Oh, beautiful planes. A nice plane and one that I got a lot of pleasure from. The 757 is another great plane and one that handles like she is on the rails. I smile to myself sometimes because you see the more nervous passengers with relief on their faces after a flight. True, my nephew is going on holiday with his girlfriend to the Caribbean, and he's not been on a plane yet, and I'm a little bit worried about that. I personally, if I was with his girlfriend, I would have taken him on a short flight first to Glasgow and back. You know, when you're only on the plane for like 40 minutes or so. And it's a long flight. It's a long flight to go on there for a first time. On the other hand, excuse me, on the other hand, when I was 16, I went on a plane to America and back, and that was my first flight, and I was okay in that. Truth is that have now left a safe environment and are about to end the most danger phase of their journey. Yes, the roads. Yeah, so what he's saying there, of course, is the people, you know, on the planes. You are actually very, very safe in a plane up there. Much, much safer than on a road in your car. It's true. I did enjoy that. The flight... I got out of that plane after that flying lesson, as I say, just over 3 years ago now, and I was buzzing for days. There's nothing like that experience. It's a good thing if any of you have got children who are sort of, I think there's I don't know what the age limit is, certainly here in the UK, I think it's 18. If you've got an 18-year-old, okay, boy or girl, doesn't matter, and you're wondering... well, maybe not so much. I don't think the girls would enjoy it so much, actually. If you've got an 18-year-old boy, okay, a really good present to get them, perhaps for the birthday or graduation or Christmas, is a 1 hour flying lesson. Really good. Really, very good. Good idea to do that, okay? I loved it. I was a little bit scared up there with the way the plane was being thrown about, but I was buzzing for days afterwards. There's nothing like that experience. There really isn't. Bob says, are we having an effect on the climate? Is it warm and sunny today with temperatures touching 25 degrees centigrade? And we are very close to the Arctic Circle. We are having an impact on the Earth. Are we running out of oil? Alas, no. What we are running out of is cheap oil. And with it increase in price, more oil becomes available. Silly, isn't it? Of course it does. You know, the higher the price, the more we're going to have available because they want to sell it. What we are running out of is cheap oil, he says. What we have is a planet with a 40-a-day cigarette habit. Yeah, I see exactly what you're saying there. I read a while ago a book called The World Without Us, and it takes us from a point by which all the people have left the Earth. It's just fantastic how fast the Earth would heal itself. Oh, I'm sure it would. I'm absolutely sure it would. I mean, take your patio, for example. All right? If you leave that alone for a few months, how quickly do those weeds start growing through the gaps? And it wouldn't be long before they started taking over and cracking up the pavements as well, would it? What I found interesting was the chapter on what things would still be around after nature had taken back the planet. And what does Robert think that would be? Well, I won't be able to tell you on the show today because we've run out of time, boys and girls. As always, thank you for joining me on here on United Kingdom Talk. Do join in by email at any time, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Another email catch-up programme on the next show. From myself, Chris Reardon, thanks for watching and listening. Bye-bye now.